Battlefield 6 has to blow us away when this game comes out. It has to be like the first time we saw Battlefield 3 back in 2011. The graphics, the trailers were all on point. It was ahead of its time. Still, the visuals hold up today, nearly 10 years later. This was a game that paved the way for what games could really achieve in terms of making games feel alive. It was the game that really brought Battlefield to a massive audience, selling close to 20 million copies. This was truly the golden age of Battlefield. Battlefield 5 has caused trust issues within the community, so now more than ever, DICE can't afford to give players a poor offering with the next game. For Battlefield 6 with the new consoles releasing at the end of 2020, we should see the developers being able to push past the current barriers and create a new standard. Battlefield as a franchise has always been praised for advancing gaming. This could mean for DICE to have more than 64 players in a world as dynamic as Battlefield. Destructible environments but like we have never seen before, allowing you to destroy huge structures in a stunningly realistic fashion like we haven't seen in previous titles. Bad Company 2 destruction, but with more fidelity. The Bad Company series has a great destruction system, especially when it released, but the structures were much smaller. Imagine that destruction but in an urban environment. It could be very interesting. In the tech demo that they showed what the engine could achieve for future games, it showed extremely impressive destruction of rubble falling from a large building. Now with the PS5 and Xbox Series X, this level of physics should be awesome. The audio to immerse you in the battle. DICE has always been known for its stellar sound design, especially in BF3, which really blew its competitors away. I expect nothing less with Battlefield 6. For Battlefield 3, the DLC was varied and all felt unique and different. For example, take Armored Kill and compare that to the Aftermath DLC. One including large open maps with a heavy emphasis on vehicular gameplay, and the other close quarter urban maps, with the first iteration of Revolution being the earthquakes. They gave players something interesting to try out and come back to play. Now we would assume that Battlefield 6 will be implementing a live service. So DICE, you have to get this right. You should have the live service planned out with as little disruption. I would like to see maybe an urban map pack just focusing on city battles or towns, then add cosmetics that are more dirty and gritty that fit that environment. Weapons and attachments centered around that update. I felt like Battlefield 5's live service had no center theme. It was all over the place. One map here and there. Let's add a desert map because why not? If they really want to keep players coming back to the live service, we need 3 to 4 maps, new weapons and gadgets for each update, cosmetics and awards to grind towards. That may sound like a lot for a free live service, but I think players do expect more now and developers need to think of interesting ways to keep players engaging. I want Battlefield 6 to be that title that we come back and play years after the release. We look back and say, this was the game that featured great infantry combat, vehicle gameplay, large maps and small maps. Maps that we remember for years to come. Battlefield 3 had that all. It wasn't perfect, but it was the Battlefield game that built upon the previous game in a big way. I love Battlefield 3, and if they are taking inspiration from that game, according to some of the leakers, then that makes me happy indeed. Just to touch upon the cosmetics and camos, players like authentic gear. Look at the start of Battlefield 5's life cycle. They completely missed what players wanted. They were wrong, they looked ugly. Compare that to the end of life cycle camos for BF5. They looked vastly superior. That is what we wanted from the start though. Modern camos can look authentic as well. BF4 did them good for the most part. We saw leafy green camos, desert camos, dark blue camos. There was no purple and oranges. It all fit the setting well. That is what I want to see this time around in Battlefield 6. If they can do all of this, then you will have listened to the players and will have a good game on your hands. This seems to be coming out in 2021 and it doesn't look like we will be getting a Battlefield 3 remaster either, due to us not hearing anything about it at EA Play and what Tom Henderson has said over on Twitter. But if Battlefield 6 makes the same impact that Battlefield 3 did when it launched, then I will be a happy player. I'll be sure to keep you guys well informed on what is happening with this next Battlefield title. If you have just stumbled across this video, before you click off, do us a favour, drop a like, subscribe, click that bell notification. If you're interested in free-to-play tactical shooters, then why not watch this video? Until next time, have a good one.